We already had a lot of questions in the chat for you. I saw many questions from Mirella, for example. I'd say since you asked several questions, Mirella, perhaps you could choose one of them and ask it directly to your.
Yes, I'm mostly interested in the weeds control for 10 hectares of lavender farm, which is in ecological conversion now. So the thing where I'm struggling, it's actually the weeds, big rooted weeds.
Do you have weeds on the row or in between?
Sorry?
On the row or in between rows?
Yeah, I mean, on between the plants is the most difficult part for me. Yeah.
There is one farm that have beautiful experience with lavender and cover crops. They are using cover crops. If you Google it, I don't know exactly what cover crops they are using, but maybe it's clover, small clover, and they put it cover crops in order to suppress the other weeds. It's a little bit of work at the start until you suppress all the weeds, but in 1 or 2 years you don't have this problem anymore.
Yeah, so, because anyway they grow. I mean, this struggle is in the first and 2 years after planting the lavender. Yeah.
In short, if for weeds between the rows, it depends how wide your path between your plants rows is, you can use a cover crop. Basically, for everything, you can use a cover crop. Just sow something everywhere and then cut it with on the row with something that's mechanical. Okay. And on the row, you can use it the cut stuff to mulch between the rows, between the plants on the row. But for that, you need to cultivate, to do a really good cultivation first, and then to put your mulch on top. Use mulch. This is the only answer.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have to plant your plants far enough apart to go with a machine.
Yeah, I know.
There are some machines who that touch the plant and do like this, and they come back. If they touch the plant, they don't cut anymore. They come back. They come back.
Okay.
There are some automated solutions. Otherwise, you could go with the mulch, but that implies a lot more labor in the beginning until your mulch grows and you mulch everything.
Okay. Thank you very much for
try to buy a lot of wood chips.
Thank you for your question, Mirella. There were other questions in the chat concerning your business model and how you would organize all of that. There was one question from Chensu. Maybe Chensu, you'd like to take the floor to directly ask it.
Yes, sure. I mean, I'm interested in the link between the farm and the community. So whether customers buy directly from the farm, or whether you have a middleman to distribute the crops. I mean, basically, how do the crops reach the market, and whether you try to keep it within the community, within a certain radius.
We're starting to, we don't sell yet. We're going to start selling in some weeks, hopefully. Our business model implies from farm to table, to direct selling to home, to people's home. Yeah, we're delivering. Otherwise, we have some fixed points where the customers can take the baskets. We are selling baskets, but baskets like with minimum command minimum. Minimal order of 10 euros. You can buy from us if you order for at least 10 or some.
If not, you pay the transport.
You pay the transport. So yeah, this is a big issue actually, because we're doing farming every day, but we also have to do the delivery. And it's a lot of money, and harvest and delivery. And so there's a lot of money implied. You have to buy a truck with the fridge. You need a driver that goes round and round in the city, and this is frustrating. The traffic jam and everything. but yeah, let's see how we're gonna go. Hopefully,
we have
we're
an
not.
online shop. Actually, we have an online store where we're going to post the products. We're going to post the quantities. People are going to order them, whatever they want. I don't want to impose you here, take this fennel. No, everybody orders what they want. That's one thing. The food is going to go to fixed points in Bucharest. They can either pick up from there, or it can go to a courier or to our own drive. That's the first way. Second way, restaurants, cantinas, home delivery cooking businesses. That's another way. Or three, supermarkets. We can go to the supermarket here, have this food, or we can go that route
At the ethical price. I mean, yeah, that's the price discussion.
Yeah.
Regarding the community. People from our village where the farm is, they have their own gardens. I mean, in Romania, in the rural area, everyone has their own garden. They grow their own tomatoes, and yeah, the vegetables. We're producing for the city because yeah.
Anyway, can I come in? There's another discussion about fair trade. We would like the price. This is another thing we have in mind. We would like that everybody has a chance to buy healthy food. If you go bio or organic or whatever, you often buy stuff at 3 times the price or something like that. So yeah, at the moment, healthy food is not affordable for everybody. So the ethical thing to do would be to find the solution, to find the production model that allows you to have a profit and that allows the customer, to any customer, to buy your product, to make the healthy choice. The healthy choice, but also the choice that gives you the money, the budget to improve soil and ecosystem. So that's a huge challenge.
Yeah, and anyway, shouldn't be so cheap. Shouldn't be so cheap. I mean, the food, from my point of view, is cheaper than the work that is put it. I mean, that's a lot of work in producing food in our farm, and I cannot afford to sell a tomato for €1. I mean, it's super cheap. It's not break even, and it's super hard work, and yeah, intense emotionally, physically, yeah. So that's a big discussion about the price.
But yeah, that's the philosophy. We're trying to figure that break-even point.
Yes, thank you.
There were other questions related to the financial sustainability of an agribusiness. There was one question from Mirella asking, what, in your opinion, would be the minimum surface of land to own or to lease in hectares for a small farmer to have a financially sustainable agribusiness while using permaculture?
Can I take that one? Take a look at Curtis Stone. He farms food on land he doesn't have in other people's backyards. He has 2 plots here, 3 plots there, 5 plots here, and he grows high value, short date to maturity crops using these techniques we showed you, and even more crazy. So depends. If I grow carrots on 10 hectares, I might make less of a profit than somebody who sells arugula in 1 caterpillar tunnel or 1 greenhouse the entire year.
But
if you
yes,
want to live
but
on
also
it,
the discussion is if you want to have your own paradise. If you want to have your own paradise, like nature and production, and you want to have a healthy lifestyle and a business lifestyle. So maybe the surface will be like 1 hectare. Start with 1 hectare. If you have 1 hectare with two people involved, like a family, you're sustainable financially. Definitely.
Can you please, Alex? Alex, can you please repeat the name? Curtis how?
Curtis Stone, urban farmer.
Oh, urban farming. Oh,
But
thank
also,
you.
pay attention from what you harvest from those, for everyone, from us and from Curtis Stone and from Jean-Martin Fortier. Like everyone, feel free to critique everyone methods and make
Find your own
strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Curtis Stone is doing. Yeah, I like him, but also not working your own plot somehow.
I like him as a technician.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his situation is perfect.
Yeah. Check his techniques and strategies, and maybe that's.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just fusing two questions into one. One question from Mirella and one question from Andre about your assessment of the piece of land that you bought. Did you run any pedological tests before buying it? And how would you assess the fauna and diversity in general in your farm?
Yeah, we didn't. Before buying, we didn't done any tests. It was like simple like this. We fall in love of the land. Actually, when we saw it, the land, it was okay. We really like it. It was near the forest, the river. It wasn't cultivated for 2 or 3 years, and we didn't done any tests before buying. We didn't done any tests actually even now. You should do that. We didn't. We've done some. Yeah, we check it with our experience and checking the history. We were confident that that's a good place to buy. Regarding the fauna and biodiversity, yeah, we have a lot of wild pigs around. We have a lot of birds, migratory birds that are coming also on the land that we buy. We don't have this problem because the land is near into the forest, actually, somehow at the end of the village and into the forest. So yeah, we already have that.
Plus, we're leaving some portion of the land uncultivated for the native seeds to propagate themselves. Plus, whenever we cut the grass, we leave bunches, clumps of stuff to propagate themselves, and we'll be bringing more diversity in the form of hedgerows, flowers, etc., etc.
Yeah, our luck was that we already have habitats for biodiversity there, but this is not. If you don't have it, you build it. Like you have the windbreaks, we have to have windbreaks, hedgerows, ponds, wild zone 5, like it's in permaculture. Do that, and the fauna and wildlife will be there.
Plus, there's tremendous power in a seedling nursery. If you have a seedling nursery, you can make your own. You can both take plants from nature and propagate them, and make a bed and really propagate them. Plus, you can bring in your own, make baby plants, throw them out there, and watch them grow and self-replicate.
One additional question from Raluca Pauladinu. Maybe you'd like to just say it yourself.
It's fine now, yes? So I asked this question from my own perspective because I recently, 1 year ago, actually I bought some land. It's not a big one. It's half of hectare, and I'm working by my own. I'm alone there, and I'm trying to organize everything on permaculture principles. While you were talking about selling the product, because at the end of our work, we talk also about selling, yes, and how many people are working in your, because seems to be so much work to do there, and how can you manage all these aspects? From my point of view, referring to myself again, sounds a little bit scaring.
What?
Yeah, farming is scary. Could be scary, but at the start, yeah, it's definitely scary. It's a lot of work. How many you are? It's myself, Alex, Marianne, but Marianne also is doing the construction work and design tools and build tools. I think in production and infrastructure, we are 4, sometimes 6 with friends. It's also, but we have a lot of advice after this year experience, because there is a lot of action doing at the same time. We have to build structure and infrastructure, roads, fence,
water lines,
also produce
greenhouses, interior renovation.
Super hardcore. I mean, this is mostly yeah, it's impossible. We assume that we're gonna process this reality of doing a lot of work this year, but with the consequence that getting lose a little bit of quantities in production. Yeah, we know that our production this year won't be at our target. So start small. It's even if we have this scale of 6 hectares, yeah, actually you start small. And yes, you need, if you don't have a budget for tools, and if you don't have you didn't figure out what are the streamlines, how to do things in the fastest way possible. So this is our strategy: how to do things in the fastest way possible in order to have time and to produce. And yeah, we're evolving. I mean, we're evolving, and we're very confident in our model. Come and visit us, because you're from Romania.
For sure. I wanted also to ask you about this.
Yeah,
I will
come and visit us. And yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for your question. I see many questions on the chat. I hope we get the opportunity to answer all of them. There was a question from Emmanuel who asked, for a small scale garden, is it suitable to use the cardboard and a thick layer of compost to prepare a bed for root vegetables?
If anybody tried this technique before?
We didn't try it at our scale though. I tried on the small, in the past I tried on the small scale, like family garden. Yeah, it's working. I don't use that technology anymore.
I tried it. I was working in 2015 at the agroecological farm in Luxembourg, and this is how we grew. We bought rolls of cardboard from the store, we unrolled them on the ground, and the state of Luxembourg actually is capable enough to produce compost from people's waste, from vegetable waste, which they collect. So yeah, a truckload of compost used to come, it went like this, we put a mountain of compost on the ground, and then we spent all day shoveling and wheelbarrowing the compost to the place. But we put down like 30, 40 centimeters of compost. So basically compost, not organic matter. Cardboard plus organic matter does not equal a seed bed. Decomposing matter will melt your seed. Only stabilized, matured compost will accept and nurture your seed.
So I think the answer is yes, for a small scale garden.
If you have enough organic matter and stable enough, like mature.
And Emmanuel, if you have resources for compost, please tell us.
Yes,
it's
give
very
us
hard
compost.
to find compost in good quality compost.
There is another question from sorry, from Namvula. He says that the raised beds shown in the video show monoculture rows of crops, and he asked if one can devote one of the 3 rows to a shelter belt of perennials, which would attract pollinators and help create microclimates.
We spoke about the hedgerows. We call them hedgerows. This idea of shelter belt. They are minor, like you have a shelter belt around, and you have these shelter belts interspersed. So yes, there is something like that.
Yeah.
Also look up agroforestry systems for that, which are a big, larger scale, a bit larger scale than what we're doing.
I think, Novola, if you want to do it from 3 rows, you said it, devoted to, can one in three rows be devoted to a shelter belt of perennials?
We do one in 6.
Yeah, is the pattern of your farm. You have to design your farm with this pattern, 1 in 3. And I think it's not sustainable in workflow because the irrigation needs to be at least 4 rows. If you're doing sprinkles, you need at least 4 rows. So maybe the minimum size to have the perennial bed would be 4 rows. 4 rows, 1, and then one belt. But depends of the scale. We use 12 beds and then one shelf for perennials.
On either side.
4, maybe 4 or 8. Also the number, it depends. I think we work with 4, 8, 12, 16. And this we're doing because the irrigation, the cover, the insect nets are the maximum length are suitable for 4, minimum 4.
There is a question about, it's a question from Elena Camelia Monteanu. Maybe you'd like to come in about fertilizers and crops protection.
Oh, yes, of course. I just wanted to know if you are using, besides compost, other materials for fertilization, and in terms of crop protection, if you are using ecological products.
Yes, we are using ecological products. Ideally, we would like to use a compost tea as a foliar fertilizer, but we use, if needed, we use products like biostimulators, rooting enhancers, mycorrhizal fungi, inoculants for the Fabaceae plants when we plant them, essential oils, growth regulators, antifungals, antibacterians, repellent insecticides made from organic materials like Bacillus thuringiensis and what was the other one? Spinosad. And we use amendments like alfalfa meal, blood meal, bone meal, fish meal, flour meal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we also use as fertilizers the cover crops themselves with which we mulch. Yeah. If we would find a good source of compost, we would get it. We would like to start our own composting project, but we need a surface with concrete. We need a big machine to turn it, to produce as much compost as we would need realistically at our scale. There's like, I don't know, 40,000, 50,000 euro investment if we want to make our own compost. Plus you need the materials. You need the manure coming from somewhere, and you need the wood chips coming from somewhere, or the sawdust, or whatever carbon you use. So it's actually a big deal to make your own compost. And compost solves everything. Healthy plants equals no pests.
Yeah, and the manure has to come from a trustworthy source, I think. It's pretty complicated.
Yeah, this is complicated. You can
trustworthy, but not necessarily ecological from our point of view.
Yeah, because it heats up and burns everything, all the antibiotics.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
5 degrees.
Thanks.
Thank you. We have yet a question from Florin Dumbrava asking when would be the right time to start covering a virgin land plot with cardboard or cover crop if for next year cultivation?
As soon as possible, I would say.
Yes, because you maybe you need more than one circle.
One cycle of production
cycle of
degradation.
covering before you start producing. And starting for now will give you the access to have feedback from the ground. Put it now and then see what's happening, and maybe put a second time, or then put some seedlings like cover crops up after cardboard. Yeah.
Okay, in case I missed any question in the chat, please intervene now. You can unmute yourself, open your camera. I think we covered pretty much all of it.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So we have recently acquired a small piece of land, and the soil is so compacted that we can't work it manually. What do you actually suggest instead of tillage? It's so compact that basically there's no water that can percolate. It's quite almost impossible. We couldn't even put, I mean, we could only put the soil probe for like 10 centimeter. So what do you suggest?
What's the surface?
You have 10 centimeters of workable soil. Congratulations, you're one of the happy ones.
Maybe,
what's the surface?
Maybe I'm optimistic. So
Claudia, what's the surface of the land?
It's about 4,000 square meters. This is in Malta, so our parcels are pretty small.
Okay, 4,000. It's not so small.
It's like 4,000 something, less than half a hectare.
Yeah, 1/2 hectare. So maybe broad forking. Make a permablitz, invite people to buy some broad forks and make a dinner and broad fork the land, or start small if you have time, if you have resources. Possible to start small. Take one plot, 100 square meter, broad forking.
Would you suggest putting compost like on the top? Is there?
Even if you put compost, you won't solve fast enough the problem underneath.
Yeah.
So you have to deal it somehow, because otherwise the roots won't go deeper.
Yes,
so
that was the issue.
You have to solve it.
So we need to till it the first time.
But not till it, because if you till it, you won't solve actually the problem, because the till will go only maximum 20 or 25 centimeters.
Yeah.
There is this tool that is called how we call it?
Scarificator. It cuts the soil. There are thin blades that cut the soil.
Like the yeoman's plow. Like if you Google the yeoman's plow, is like a tooth that is going in the soil.
Yeah.
Scarifier.
Cuts. How?
Scarifier in English. Scarifier.
Scarifier.
Yeah.
Scarifier. Yeah.
Okay.
And it cuts the soil, and it goes in deep, even half or 1 meter. They're this big, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna have access. But you can use that tool. Maybe someone, if it's an agriculture area, probably someone will have that tool, rent it, and you're gonna solve it. Otherwise,
how long is your land?
Pardon?
How long is it?
How long is it? In length, I would say, Dimitria can say 80 what?
Meters.
80 meters.
Okay. So I would say plant a cover crop. Buy a sprinkler line, 180-meter long line with sprinklers going. You'll have a radius about 5-6 meters. Scratch 80 meters times 8 meters using one sprinkler line. Scratch it, seed it, turn the water on all the time, and you'll have something growing. And that water and those things growing will improve your soil. If you have compost, use it on a very limited surface. Grow very biointensive, very small surface, and let the land heal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's also
A
good
lot
one.
of compost on a very small
If you have
surface, earth as
water,
much as you can.
if you have water and with some cover crops, you maybe reach
And
the
time, you need time.
time.
You're gonna go the natural
place where
route.
the
you need
roots will
time.
go deeper.
Okay.
But you have to have water
Mm-hmm.
to feed the plants.
Yeah, moisten it
Stay
and it will
alive.
be softer.
Okay.
Roots will grow, the land will go softer. If you have 10 centimeters, next year you have 15.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The more you feed it and you give it water and you give it roots, it will be better.
Okay.
But if you want to grow something, grow on a very limited surface, as much compost as you have for.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Janut, Alex, would you suggest a way to contact you if people here have additional questions?
Of course. Yes. We have, you can reach us on the Permaculture Research Institute website. It's called Institutul de Permacultura.ro,
Or on Facebook.
on our farm or Facebook, or our farm socialsoufflet.ro, or Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, we're reachable. And if you're from Romania, we're glad to have a visit. Or
yeah, come visit us, guys.